This, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is my bread. There's a whole bunch of stuff in it which I'm going to take you through briefly. Very, very nutritious. It's a meal in itself. All you need is greens and some water and you've got yourself a real good meal. But it falls, and I would like to just take you briefly through how I make it, and if anyone has any suggestions as to how to improve on the fluffiness of it, in other words making it into real bread, I would appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Okay, so we're going to turn all of this is my second attempt, by the way, in making a video, turn all of this into bread. The first thing is to take this Red Path organic sugar, 2 spoons worth, and we're going to put it in some boiling water and make it liquid form. Alright, so see you in a while. So there's our sugar dissolved. Now we take 40 mils of buckwheat groats, cargo rice 40 millimeters, red cargo rice, black glutinous rice 40 mils, whole grain basmati again 40 mils, and we're going to boil that in water for half the time that it's supposed to be. Half the time means about 10 minutes rather than 20 or 30. Okay, we're at about the 3-minute mark, 3 minutes before the 10 minutes are up. Now I'm going to put in some Quaker large oats. Cooking time is 5 minutes, so we're just a little more than half. Alright. Okay, so what we've done is we have at 10 minutes, we have stopped all that from cooking by running it in cold water and straining it. Returning it to the pan. I did that twice. Okay, so cooking is effectively stopped. So now we're going to put in 1 spoon of yeast, 1 85 ml portion of whole kamut flour, dark buckwheat flour, and this multi-grain bread that I have. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so that's it there. Okay, now we've mixed hot and cold water until it's warm to the touch of the interior to the wrist, like a baby bottle formula. If you put in enough water and stir it around till it gives a nice stew goo like that. Now we have a kind of like a Pyrex container that we have lined with parchment paper. 2 pieces cut like this come up the sides, and we're going to pour that in. So you can see what it looks like in there. Nice mishmash goo that tastes like sweet and sour cardboard at this point. We're going to just gently cover it, and we're going to let that rise for about 4 hours. Little note about the water: no salt. Salt will kill or inhibit the yeast. I don't put any flavoring. They usually are done in alcohol. Like if you want to put vanilla, I suppose you have to find one that's done in water rather than alcohol. But no salt, no oils of any kind either. Okay, so here's the thing. This is about just a little under 3 hours in, and as you can see, it's risen quite a bit, and I think if we wait much longer, the air pockets are going to get so big that the dough gets fragile, and then as they expand in the oven, it causes the dough to fall because they just sort of break through the ceiling. So I'm going to heat up the oven now, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which this thing says is 205 centigrade, which is about right. It's actually 204. Okay, and when that's hot, then we're going to put it in the oven, and then when hot, so we'll see in a bit. So it's about 10 minutes later. The oven is ready. It's at 400. The elements just turned off, so it's at its degree, and as you can see, it's risen even more. I'm not waiting for 4 hours because, like I said, the air bubbles will make it too fragile and it'll collapse. That's what I think, because that's what's happened. So there it is, ready to go. So very, very slowly we close the oven, I'll see you again in about 40 minutes. So I took it out at 40 minutes and it was still a little wet. Now it's not, so it's done. We put it in for another 10 minutes, so it was 15 minutes total. As you can see, it did shrink a fair amount if you look at the sides, but it's still pretty fluffy in comparison to some of them I've made. So we'll let it cool down and I'll show you what a piece looks like. Okay, so here it is. Maybe I should have let it rise another hour because most of the air bubbles, air pockets are gone, but still it's a pretty good consistency. That's about one piece. It's a meal in itself. All you need is some greens and some water. I don't usually eat it with any butter or anything like that, and maybe a bit of soy sauce or something, and that's about it. Alright, so tell me what you think.